Destin Laguerre here, and I'm going to take you through the Salvation's Edge raid encounter. The first encounter is the Substratum Encounter. You're going to be introduced to a few raid mechanics here. To start, pick up the pyramid triangle and deposit it into the box. This is pyramidal residence. You will need two groups to go separately into the doorways which open. Be careful, as explosive harpies will be exiting as you head in. Once they're dealt with, head in, and you'll need to kill a Hydra and continue through the area as more doors open. Make note of the red squares on the ground as they will light up, but more on that later. Proceed through the first room into the next room. If your doors are still shut, the other team likely needs to kill a Hydra to allow you to proceed. Once they've done that, one team will need to find a devotee of the Witness Minotaur that must be defeated. Once killed, a Threshold Sentinel will spawn in the main room. Kill it to start the process all over again. Once you've done this a second time and killed the Threshold Sentinel, you'll want to again break up into two teams and look for a glowing plate to stand on. Stepping on this will send a beam of light on the ground to the other plate, and another player will need to go to that other plate and send that energy back to you. On the second plate, where the energy is being sent, let the beam of light travel all the way along the ground and into the second plate. Watch the plate begin to charge up. After only a moment, step on it briefly to send the charge back to the other side, where the first player will let the plate charge up and then send it back to you again. What you're doing is building up pyramid resonance. This is to allow you to extend your timer. Every player should pick up 3 of these if possible. The people managing the plate should keep passing the charge back and forth until there's about 30, maybe 45 seconds on the final shape looming clock, depending on how good your team is. At that point, you'll want to have one group shoot the spire glowing yellow to lock your plate. The way it works is you shoot the diamond to prime it and then step on the plate to seal it. Both teams will need to do this, and once your node is locked, go back into the central room. A Harbinger of the Witness will spawn, you'll need to kill it, and a box will spawn in the main room. It is a bit slow, but once it spawns, immediately put the pyramidal resonance you've collected into the box. This will extend your time and allow you to do the entire thing again until you've collected around 45 pyramidal resonance. Then it's on to the next encounter. The second encounter is the Herald of Finality boss encounter. You will enter a large central arena with 3 structures in front of 3 sections where you'll have to pass resonance back and forth. One at the back where you'll spawn, one to the left, and one to the right of the big arena in the middle. You will need to separate into 3 groups of 2 and have each group go to a section of the map. To start the encounter, shoot the taken orb in the center of the arena. Once at your location, clear out any enemies who have spawned. This will include a Trammel of enemy type, which appears as either a taken ogre, taken phalanx, or taken witch. Once they've all been defeated, you'll see a prompt that says the Herald summons player name to battle. First, kill the Trammel of enemy type that appears at their location. Everyone can damage this enemy, and once the Trammel enemy type is defeated, you'll get a prompt that says energy flows into the architecture. Once you have this energy, begin passing the energy back and forth between the top plate and the plate on the bottom 3 times. You'll generate spherical resonance and pyramid resonance. Do not pick them up at this point in time. Leave them on the ground if possible. For players who were summoned to battle, you now need to go into the middle ring and fire at the Herald of Finality's head until you get a buff, Stolen Favor, which will appear at the top middle of your screen. You won't be able to get this until the side teammates have destroyed the large taken orb that appears in their sections of the map. While one player is summoned to battle, the player remaining at each section will need to look for that large taken orb that spawns. Be sure to take it out. Now the player with the Stolen Favor buff will be able to return to his portion of the map. The buff will allow you to see which resonance must be used to close your spire at your section of the map. Collect the resonance and shut the spire. Then have all teams meet in the center and deposit any remaining resonance in the chest that appears in the center of the map to extend your timer. DPS on the boss will now begin. Most teams have been using swords for the damage phase. Options include the Lament, Falling Guillotine, or any heavy sword for this section. While doing damage, a Warlock well and swords have been quite effective for most raid teams, however, so complete the above steps until the Herald of Finality is defeated. During the Herald of Finality's final stand, he will go immune for a brief moment and spawn more Trammel enemies onto the battlefield. You can either quickly defeat the Herald and then deal with them, or deal with them and then kill the Herald. Just make sure everything is dead to complete the encounter. In the Carve a Path raid encounter, players will need again to collect pyramidal resonance, spherical resonance, and now square resonance. Yes, you do need to collect one of each type. The player who kills the Tormentor at the beginning will get a buff that allows them to see the corresponding symbol needed for each conduit that needs to be closed. You'll need to use the correct resonance to close each conduit as called out by the player who can see what's required. Once you begin, Tormentors will appear on the battlefield and they'll need to be killed to bring energy into the architecture. Doing this will spawn Cabal turrets that should be promptly destroyed. Once the energy is activated, begin passing it between the two plates on your section of the map to build resonance. Have each player pick a unique type of resonance and pick it up. Once you have 3, have a player lock your resonance spire with the correct resonance type. Then deposit all remaining resonance into each box to continue to the next section. You will need to insert each resonance type into the box to proceed and extend your timer. Just before the final door of each area, an unstoppable Incendior will appear and need to be defeated, as well as several enemies around the field. Continue upwards until you complete the encounter. If you're curious how the resonance generators are routed, here is their power routing. The Verity Encounter is one of the more complex for teams to get. Yes, you need to know what every player looks like, and you need to know what their unique ghosts look like. So make sure every player looks unique enough and their ghost is unique enough that that's easily determined. The first thing you'll notice upon entering the room, though, is 6 Guardian statues, modeled after your current raiding party. For the Guardian and Ghost matching, I highly recommend ninjachicken737.com or necrondao.github.io, which showcase a picture of every Guardian in your party when you put in your tag, and their ghosts. It has been incredibly helpful for matching things. Of course, in a pinch, you can all go to your Journey tab, take a picture, and post a picture of your Guardian in a group chat. Take some time to identify what each Guardian looks like, and also what their ghosts look like before you continue. The more unique each member looks, the better, along with their chosen ghost design. Make sure everyone has a ghost that's easy to identify for the latter half of this encounter. To start the encounter, interact with the 3 statues at the back of the room. We'll get to the full breakdown of Verity, but most people get stuck on the shapes puzzle. The easiest way we can explain it is as follows. The teams who get teleported into their own rooms will call out what their guardians are holding, for example, triangle, circle, square. The player on the outside who is dissecting with 2 other players alongside him or her needs to remove those shapes from the statues in the room with 3 players. So if the left statue is triangle, it will need the remaining 2 shapes moved onto their statue. Then you would need to swap the circle and square between the middle and right statues. At that point, you are done dissecting. Now, here's how that played out during one of my Verity clears. Let's say the callout again was triangle, circle, square. Your 3D shapes are pyramid, sphere, and box. Let's say the first knight you kill drops a circle. You'd want to put that circle into the sphere in the middle. This will prime the sphere to remove a circle from it. You'll know it's ready to have that shape removed as it glows yellow. Now we kill another knight and it drops a triangle. Pick this up and deposit it into the Triangle Guardian. It will swap the circle and triangle. Great, but we still need to get rid of one more triangle on the left statue, a circle on the middle statue, and both squares on the right statue. So this time we will kill a knight and it drops a square. Perfect. Let's remove the square from the far right statue as it does not need a square. We'll insert it and that statue is now primed for a swap. We get a circle. Put the circle into the middle statue as it does not need a circle. The middle statue is now done. It has a triangle and a square. Perfect. Now we just need to do the last 2 statues. I grab a triangle and put it into the far left statue, which does not need a triangle. It is now primed for a swap. I find a square, grab the square and put it in the far right statue to remove the square. We are now done dissecting. Far right should have a cone, middle has a triangle square, and far left has a cylinder. For the inside team, we'll break up this process into 2 phases. Phase 1 is all about getting 2 of the shapes in your room that match what your Guardian is holding. To get shapes to drop on the ground, you'll need to kill knights. In addition, the shapes that your knight will be carrying flash on the back wall. Phase 2 is all about picking up your shape and sending it to the other 2 statues that are not yours. The goal of this encounter is to get every player 2 shapes in their room that are not what their Guardian is holding. Now let's run through an example of this in action. You are an inside player. First, you identify what your shape is. My shape is triangle in this case. Now identify what order the shapes are in and have a player call that out to the entire team. In our case, it was square, triangle, and circle. Kill your knights, and if they drop your shape, leave it on the ground. But if they drop one of the other guardian shapes, place that shape into the matching shape location from the original callout. In our case, we pick up a square, which was at the far left statue, and we put it into the guardian statue that was holding a square. Now, if I killed my second knight and it dropped a circle, I would put that circle in the circle location and I would be done with phase 1. However, when I killed my second knight, he dropped a triangle. I do not need that yet, so I leave it on the ground. Now my teammates clarify that they now have 2 of the same shape rotating on their back wall. We are ready for phase 2. You can start it immediately or wait until the witness fake wipes the team. I'll explain that part in a second. We decide to start phase 2. We kill knights and pick up our own shapes. We send those to our teammates. Phase 2 is often called distribution by teams because you're distributing your shape to your other teammates. At some point in this process, the witness will fake kill the 3 inside players. The outside players dissecting will need to pick up a ghost and match that ghost with the correct guardian statue location. The fake dead players will each be able to see 1 guardian. These players will need to cycle through views until they can see the alive guardian and the 6 statues in the back of the room. The alive player will describe the ghost that they have, use that to identify the guardian who pairs with that ghost, match all 3, and it's back to distribution. Now I'm back in my room. I needed to send 1 more triangle to the far right player. I kill a knight and send the triangle to the far right player. I am now ready to exit. Usually an ogre will appear between knight spawns. I kill the ogre, my knights spawn, I kill the knights, pick up the 2 shapes that do not match what my guardian is holding, and I exit through the back glass wall, which has begun to make a shattering noise and does this little animation, indicating you can exit. Once all guardians meet up, a bunch of enemies will spawn, including 2 unstoppable ogres on the left and right pillars. Kill all the enemies in the room, and now the witness will kill everyone on the team except 1 player. Let the 1 player who's alive pick a ghost and describe it to the team. The team should tell this player where the matching guardian is located. This will bring that guardian back to life. They can now help matching the ghosts to the guardians. Once all ghosts are matched with guardians, you will repeat the entire process. Complete the process 3 times and you have completed this encounter. The final boss battle is with the Witness. As this is a true boss encounter, the puzzle elements from the last encounter have been dialed back, but they've been replaced with high damage telegraphs you'll need to prepare for to come out on top. Before you can get to damage phase, you'll need to break the 6 buttons on the Witness chest. Your fire team needs to split into groups, 2 groups of 2 on each end of the V-shaped platform dealing with ads, and 2 people focused on completing mechanics. The ads team needs to kill the ads. The 2 remaining fire team members must shoot the bracelet on one of the witnesses' hands that are popping out of the ground, coming from the sky, or shooting across the map, taking note of the color and specific location of the hand you just shot. Acquire the resonance outlined in this handy chart from the corresponding color that appears when you shoot the hand. Return to the initial hand whose color you noted and shoot the bracelet to destroy it. You'll acquire the Glyph Breaker buff, allowing you to shoot out one of the buttons on the witness's chest to destroy it. You'll need to do this 6 times, aka the total number of buttons, or if you're fancy, some players can knock out 2 at a time. So if an ad clear player ends up getting a buff they don't want, just tell them to come out there with you and get cleansed. After this appears in the bottom left corner, you'll need to destroy 6 of the 14 crystals he spawns in the shape of the last hand you destroyed. See, sometimes the hand will sort of glow gold, and that indicates you need to create that shape when the witness gives you this puzzle. An easy way to know when this mechanic is coming up is to listen for the high-pitched scream the hands occasionally make when they're killed. If you hear that scream, you will not only know the mechanic is coming, but you'll also know which shape you need to shoot into the hourglasses to solve the puzzle. If you need to make a square, shoot the 6 innermost crystals, leaving only a square shape. As soon as you solve the puzzle, the witness will attempt to wipe your group. When you see his eyes flash and hear that anime sound effect, everybody on the team needs to jump immediately. So once you've done all that and knocked out 6 of the buttons, you can finally go to the center and do damage. You do damage by shooting at the center of his chest in the giant weak spot. However, during damage phase, the witness is still attacking you. He will shoot horizontally across the top left, bottom right. He will still do a sweeping attack that you'll need to jump over, so you'll need to coordinate with your team to make sure you avoid these. Don't stay scoped in for too long because you might wind up getting hit by this one-hit death attack. At 10% remaining health, you'll have one final chance to kill the witness. Spend everything you have, supers, heavy ammo, everything before you're all killed. All of the attacks you've seen this far will come at you at a much faster rate, so don't waste any time with anything less than your best weapons and abilities based on the ammo that you have left. If you can reduce his health to 0 here, you will have completed Salvation's Edge. Congratulations. And those are my tips for how to complete this raid. I hope you found them helpful. I hope they were clear. If they're not, let me know in the comments below. But if you found it helpful, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. For more on Destiny, check out this video I made about how to get that one really tricky ghost that I couldn't find forever, and then I found it. And for more on all things Destiny, keep it right here at IGN.